Welcome all to the Fantasy Frenzy podcast. I am your host, the Trash Man, Tyler Massimino. I'm joined by my special co-host again, Clutch Gene, Benjamin Padalero, and the current champ, Robert Armstrong. Boys, how we feeling?
Yes, sir. Feeling good.
Feeling good, yes. Ready for this one?
Nice. Yeah, so today we got another mock draft episode for you, a 12-teamer. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit again because, after the ring talk that we had last week's episode, Ben gave the most sincere and honest answer, and it dawned on me. Paige must be one of our listeners. She absolutely has to be. Can you confirm or deny this, Ben?
Honestly, I cannot confirm or deny. I am very unsure. So, I know she listened to some of our episodes last season. I'm not sure if she listened to the mock draft last week.
All right, my next question was, does Paige's dad listen to the show? Because I mean that was like a really heartfelt answer there.
He's not. His football knowledge is probably terrifying. So I'm gonna say no.
All right. So, and also one more thing before we get into this draft, I want to go over some of our recent drafts so you guys can kind of get a feel of how we perform and what we do. And it's gonna hurt to talk about this or hear him talk about this because Rob has had some nearly perfect drafts recently, really over the past 2 years. Specifically, this last draft, he kept Dalvin Cook, he kept Derrick Henry, so absolute killer running backs there, and he made some great mid-round picks with DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, absolute breakout guys, and then even later in the draft, he had guys like Josh Allen. So, Rob, you've been on fire lately. I'll let you talk a little bit more about it.
And Justin Jefferson as well. But then I proceeded to drop him week 1 and then pay a ton of fab to pick him back up. So that was a good play. But yeah, no, obviously it was an 8-man league, and then I got lucky with both Cook and Henry being kind of injury prone and not really breaking out yet. So I got him later 2 years ago. And obviously because of our keeper rule, I could keep him for 2 years. So it's made that part very easy. And then we added the additional not super flex, but the second flex this year. So I was like, well, now I have 4 running backs to start the draft off. And then I basically meant I could just hunt and peck in the later rounds. And, there was tons I didn't get lucky on. I'd have to look at it again, but I had a couple wide receivers late that just didn't pan out. Josh Allen got super lucky on. I just had a feeling that the Bills were going to be better with Diggs and stuff. So, when you have that kind of base off your first 3-4 rounds, it's very easy to get lucky later.
Yeah. I just want to chime in. I just want to chime in here on this for a little bit, or for a quick thought. I would have beat you in the finals if Alvin Kamara didn't have that 56-point game. Just saying.
True. Yeah, I mean,
everyone said that.
My whole I did go 12-1, so I guess a lot of people could have said that, and then one out. But if you look, my team actually performed pretty horribly if it wasn't for him. It wasn't I don't know. It was a weird week, and it was probably just him.
The fantasy football gods were like, you deserve to win because of your draft. So here you go.
Yeah, like I said in our group chat today, I was like, I could have literally not changed a single thing from the draft and probably still won the league. I wouldn't have been 12-1, but would have been, first place probably going into it and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So I've been taking notes on these mock drafts that we do with you. So, next, Ben, we'll talk about you. You make some savvy moves throughout the season, but man, oh man, your early round woes. You've really struggled in the early rounds lately. Last year's draft, you went Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kenyon Drake at the turn. Mm-hmm. Can you defend your picks a little bit? Because I know in the past you've had the Ray Rice incident, Le'Veon Bell holdout, and these are all first round picks.
Yep, I am notorious for my first round pick, just like their career going down the tubes when I take them as my first round pick. Namely, as you said, Ray Rice was the first year I started playing fantasy football. He had the situation. We don't really need to talk about that, but obviously he didn't play. And then Le'Veon Bell, the holdout year. DeAndre Hopkins last year is probably my only first round pick that's panned out. Actually, no, that must have been 2 years ago. Obviously. 2 years ago, yeah. And then Clyde last year. I'll defend him because he was a rookie coming into the league, and I don't usually gamble on rookies. I didn't pick up Zeke his rookie year. I didn't pick up Saquon, but I was like, I'm going to do it on Clyde. Obviously, some really nice looks, but didn't live up to first round capacity. And then I got nothing on the Kenyon Drake. I mean, he was a beast the second half of 2 seasons ago, so it just made a lot of sense. I thought I was making it like a bandit, and you guys were dumb, but obviously I was proven wrong. And I had to Bill Belichick my way to the championship. But we came up a little short, but it's all good. We're going to get back after it starting next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Always find a way. And I got to go over my new bold strategy for this year because I have major issues drafting quarterbacks in fantasy football. And realistically, this goes beyond fantasy football. I've had terrible, terrible years gambling on quarterbacks in futures bets. Specifically, last year in the offseason, I saw Deshaun Watson. I was like, all right, I think this is going to be his breakout year. This is absolutely got to be it. And no less than 24 hours later, they traded DeAndre Hopkins, and obviously Deshaun Watson is going through legal issues now. So I've pretty much determined I'm a curse. I've had Tom Brady on his bad years. I've had Drew Brees when he, was on his bad years. And those are quarterbacks that seem to always perform. And I look at their past season stats, and they have one small outlier where they underperformed. And I always have them. I always look at that. It always kills me. So this year, I decided this a couple weeks ago that I'm going to fade every single one of my quarterback picks this year. Let me read them off for you guys. My favorite right now is Lamar Jackson. Like, he's obviously not my favorite value, but I think he's going to finish as the number one QB this year. I think you can get great value out of Rodgers, Brady, Justin Herbert, who I've been rising a lot on. Jalen Hurts was a guy I was super high on this year, and Joe Burrow as well. So those are guys that I did not take in our previous mock draft. And they're guys that I love so much all through the offseason. I kept hyping them up. And there is no chance I'm drafting any of these guys in any of my leagues. So, yeah, with that being said, I think we're ready to get into the mock draft. So, first off the board, the typical guys. I was kind of shocked to see this. Christian McCaffrey goes first, but then Alvin Kamara. That's really who I was hoping to get at spot number 3, but this makes it an even easier choice for me being at the 3rd spot instead of the 2nd spot last time. To me, it's clearly Dalvin Cook. You're getting one of those top 3 running backs. I think Derrick Henry is a tier below them. And really, Ezekiel Elliott and Devonte Adams, they're all in the tier right below those guys for me. So Dalvin Cook it is, no questions asked.
Yeah, it's a good pick there. I just want to backtrack for half a second. Mock draft we're doing today. I know last week we did a 10-team. We're doing a 12-team PPR today. Tyler, as he said, is picking 3rd overall. I'll be picking 9th, and Rob will have the 12th pick. So we decided to up it to 12 this week just so we can get a different look at things. I'm going to try and do a different strategy than I did last week, but I've been doing so many mock drafts, I'm stuck in my method, so we'll see what happens. So Tyler takes Dalvin Cook number 3. Then we got Zeke going, Derrick Henry, Devonte Adams, first wide receiver off the board, as you would expect, at the 106. And then Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler, which that one kind of stings. I'm also kind of surprised that Saquon Barkley's still there. And it'll come to me at the 109. I was really hoping Eckler would fall down to me here because I really, really like him this year. I could also consider going with a wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, towards the end of the 1st round, but I guess I'm not going to change my strategy. I'm a very running back heavy person, as Rob is, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here at the 10, 11, and then the turn. So we have Aaron Jones, Saquon, and Nick Chubb still here. Saquon Barkley, obviously really hard to pass on here, but obviously there's injury concerns, and I don't think they still have revealed whether he's going to play week 1. Aaron Jones I also like a lot. Tyler, I know you're a little lower on him because of the
sauce. AJ the Sauce Dylan.
Yeah.
AJ the Sauce.
And then I think he was dealing with a hamstring injury a couple months ago, so that'll back me up on him. But I'm going to go here with the guy who probably has the best offensive line in the NFL, or if not, definitely the top 2. This guy's just a bull running down the field, and I think he's going to have a really good season this year. I'm going to go ahead and take Nick Chubb right here at the 109.
As soon as you said offensive line, obviously I knew where that went. I like Nick Chubb, though. I think he'll be good. I think he's one of the most talented. I think, It's just the Browns' offense and the way it works because they're not going to give him all the touches because Kareem Hunt's there. But I think he's up there, top 3 most talented running backs in the league. He just, doesn't get the touches to make up for that. But after that was the other 2 that you were debating, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley. So that is every running back that's ever been thought of is off the board. Which is what I expected. This is the first time I've done a 12 team. I don't do many mock drafts, and I'm in 3 10-man leagues. So, there's 1,000 different ways I could go here. I think one is pretty obvious. I think I'm gonna have to take the best wide receiver available, and to me, that's Tyreek Hill. I think in a PPR league, Devonte Adams gets a ton of targets, so I can see why Tyreek Hill's 2. But they're going to be 1-2 all year. And I think Diggs is kind of even a step down, even though I like him with Josh Allen. I think just in a PPR, just the amount of times Hill and Adams go thrown their way, it's just too obvious to do that. So Tyreek Hill will be the first one. And I do need a running back here because I don't pick for 24 more picks. There's pretty much only 2 options I would say at running back. If we look, maybe 3. I'm a little scared of Najee Harris because I think Pittsburgh and Big Ben, they're probably going to run a lot. They have a decent, offensive line, but I don't trust them fully this year to be a good offense to have Najee Harris completely eat to pick him here. So I'm going to go with maybe the best value in a PPR league. I'm not touching Joe Mixon with a 10-foot pole. I just never will. I never will. I gave Tyler so much crap for taking him last year because
he tricked me.
Yeah, there's no you get tricked into him every single year, and I just can never do it. So that's just going to leave me with Antonio Gibson. Fitzpatrick's there. Fitzpatrick dump off master, just get the ball in play and stuff like that. So I think he's just going to be PPR high value. And like I said, 12 team. I'm not picking for 24 picks. If I don't pick a running back there, I am screwed.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a really safe pick there. After you goes Travis Kelce, then Stephon Diggs. I'm kind of relieved Kelce went there because I was going to sweat if I had to debate picking him here. So now it's back to me at the 204, and I kind of have the same problem as Rob. I don't pick for a long time from here. I kind of did what I wanted to do, though. I'm known for going anchor running back, so obviously I got Nick Chubb, and I'm going to build my team around him from there. The running back scene is very terrifying this year. Obviously, Rob kind of made that clear with picking Antonio Gibson that he had to get a running back locked in, which I completely agree with. I would have done the same thing. Now looking at me here at the 204, DeAndre Hopkins is still there along with Calvin Ridley, DK, and Jefferson. Kelsey's gone, so I'm probably not going to look at Darren Waller or George Kittle here. I just think there's too much opportunity here for me to lock up my running back or get a top 3 or 4 wide receiver, depending on how you look at DeAndre Hopkins. But I want to see how the wide receiver depth plays out, so I'm going to go ahead and lock up my running back 2 here. I'm not going to take Najee. No, I'm not going to take Najee here. I feel really good about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know we just talked about him at the top of the show, but I think he's going to have a big bounce back year too. Highest scoring offense in the league, so I'm going to lock him up here.
Geez, Clyde's kind of like Ben's toxic ex, keeps going back to him. I feel like that way with Joe Mixon. It's you just can't help yourself sometimes. So
yep.
Next off the board. Yeah, next off the board. Wow. Next off the board, we got Calvin Ridley, then Patrick Mahomes, the first QB taken at 206, DeAndre Hopkins, Najee Harris, and A.J. Brown, and I am back in the second round. And, right now I got one running back. I really want to take another running back, but just like we said, Joe Mixon is staring me down as the top running back. Fuck that. No way. I can't do it. So you guys may already know the pick. I take him in a ton of drafts. He's one of my favorite players. Him and Herbert are absolutely going to light it up. That whole offense, for a matter of fact, is going to light it up. I love Herbert. He's going to be even better than he was his rookie season. He's got an absolutely great connection with Keenan Allen. He looks to him every which way. I'm projecting Keenan Allen to be, a top 5 wide receiver easily, and hopefully even a top 3 wide receiver. So I'm super excited to see what he has in store this season. And then coming around, we got DK Metcalf. Thank God somebody took Joe Mixon. Otherwise, I may have had to take him. Then 2 tight ends right before me, Darren Waller and George Kittle. And now in the third round, I'm definitely thinking running back heavy, even though there are some very good wide receivers still available in this draft. I don't want to, fall behind in the running back category, especially in a 12-man league. So right now, I'm debating between David Montgomery and Chris Carson. Definitely not DeAndre Swift for me. Those are the top 3 running backs. And then, there's quite a bit of a ways between projected picks and, my personal rankings as well. Outside of that, it's Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs. I'm as anti-Miles Sanders as can be. I will not take that guy in any draft. And I think I'm going to take David Montgomery here. I'm really excited. Hopefully they can get Justin Fields out there, but David Montgomery was one of the better running backs in the second half of the season. I think there's some really good value to be had here. I just want to see Justin Fields in that offense before I feel a little bit more comfortable. Tyreek Cohen's injured a little bit, so there's even more upside there, and could be another great year for David Montgomery.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was trying to find where you are on here. I lost you. But after David Montgomery goes, Justin Jefferson off the board. Then second QB off the board, Josh Allen goes, Josh Jacobs, Terry McLaurin, and then Allen Robinson. And then back to me at the 309. Obviously, I've locked up my running back here, so I'm probably not going to look running back for a while now. It's very obvious. I'll be going wide receiver here. CeeDee Lamb's at the top of the board right now, and I just think he's poised for a really big year. Obviously, Dak's coming back. They've shored up their offense. I think the whole unit's going to look a lot different than last year, and I'm really excited for CeeDee Lamb. Unfortunately, he's kept in our team league here, but I'm definitely going to go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb as my wide receiver 1 off of Nick Chubb and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
No. That was a good pick. That was very obvious. You had to go there. I wanted to go James Robinson so bad here. I think he's so undervalued still with the ETN injury. They don't have the depth behind him. I know the offense is probably going to stink even with what's his name there? I don't even know. Trevor Lawrence. I still think the Jags stink, but I really wanted James Robinson. He goes the pick before me. Back-to-back Dallas wide receivers too, with Amari Cooper one right after CeeDee Lamb. So that'll be interesting to see which one of them ends up at the end of the season on top. I think CeeDee Lamb as well, so I think I would have gone there as well if I was betting, but mad on James Robinson, so now I have to really think of who I'm picking here. It's mostly wide receivers at this range, but again, I don't pick for 24 picks, so am I ever going to have an RB2? That was really what I was looking James Robinson. However, looking at what's on the board, I don't want to just reach for a running back just to say I have one. And because really it's just DeAndre Swift and Chris Carson. And I don't like Chris Carson that much. I know he's talented. I know they locked him up long term. I think that they like to do a little bit too much with other running backs, and there's always the pressure on Russ to cook. So I don't think they're going to run the ball as much as they say they will at the start of the season. So yeah, wide receiver here, Robert Woods. I do love a Rams wide receiver. I've always said that. Last year is probably the first year I didn't go for it, just 'cause I didn't trust the goofball. But with Matthew Stafford, I think I'm gonna have to go Robert Woods. There's some crazy stats out there. I don't know them off the top of my head, but the amount of targets and catches he has over the past 3-4 years or something like that is some of them up there with the most in the NFL. So, just a consistent wide receiver right there. 401. I'm still looking at DeAndre Swift that had him last year in some leagues, and he hurt me with the injuries. There's just so many wide receivers I like in this area that I don't know if I can distinguish them. I don't like Chris Carson. I think. I'm playing an injury risk here, but again, 24 picks, I'm going to have to go DeAndre Swift. I like him too much. I know he dropped that ball week 1. He is a good pass-catching back, though. He'll get some PPR touches there. Just got to hope. Again, I just said I didn't like the goofball for the Rams, but, he's there in Detroit, so hopefully he'll just dump it off to Swift to get some touches there.
Yeah, all right. And then Chris Godwin goes off the board, and then Chris Carson, as you mentioned there. I think I'm a little higher on Chris Carson this year. I definitely would be happy with him as my RB2, but of course we're entitled to our own opinions. Back to me at the 404. I'm definitely looking wide receiver again here. Obviously, I have Nick Chubb, Clyde, and CeeDee Lamb so far. DJ Moore is the top of the board right now, and I actually really like him this year. I think obviously he's the slot guy there, and I think there's going to be a lot of great opportunities. Sam Darnold is going to be coming down. Hopefully they can build a nice rapport, so I definitely like DJ Moore here. Take a quick look at the tight ends. I don't really feel like I'm going to be going for any of them at this point. Definitely can afford to wait on quarterbacks, so I'm going to go ahead and fill my wide receiver 2 here. which is definitely going to comfortably be DJ Moore. He has a really good schedule this year as well, so I think he's going to have some really nice production this year.
Very interesting pick. I like it, though. I like it. So right now what I'm looking at for my team is I got 2 running backs. I have a wide receiver. I'm always looking for more running back depth, even though it is a PPR league. So next off the board, we got Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, Miles Sanders, Julio Jones, and then Kyler Murray as a QB goes off the board. So, I said it before. I'll say it again. I want another wide receiver for PPR, even though I want that running back depth. And right now I'm between 2 of my favorite guys. My favorite values in the draft, Cooper Kupp and Tyler Lockett. To me, and probably everyone else that says it, there's not really any difference between Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Your guess is as good as mine, and I want a piece of this Rams offense as well that Robin mentioned. I took Tyler Lockett last mock draft. We didn't. I still feel good about it. So I'm not going to invest too heavily in one player if I'm in multiple leagues. I'm fine with spreading it out a little bit. So I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp from the Rams here, and hopefully that offense can click on another level. Cooper Kupp, a couple of years ago, he had a great season, bit of a down year last year. I'm hoping he can bounce back from that. So I'm really excited for these guys. And just like I said, next off the board, Tyler Lockett. I was hoping he would make it around at the turn again. And then we have Lamar Jackson, who is my prediction to be the number 1 quarterback. So obviously can't pick him. Then Adam Thielen and T. Higgins, a guy I really like to come out as a breakout. So now I'm back in the 5th round. We got the 3rd pick in the 5th round. I got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and boy, oh boy, I am staring at one of these Pittsburgh wide receivers. And then, I like Deontay Johnson a lot. It's pretty easy for me to decipher who I like the most. I had Juju last year, took him pretty early, and I was very disappointed in his output. And a guy that I really think has the skill set to be a complete breakout, an absolute stud for fantasy football, and a future, top 10 pick in fantasy football as long as he can, pan out with his skill set. Is going to be Chase Claypool, his 2nd year in the league, and hopefully he can get some quarterback play behind Ben Roethlisberger. Like, as far as dynasty leagues go, that's, one future worry that I have about him is what's going to happen when Big Ben retires. But this is just a redraft league, so I'm super pumped for Chase Claypool, and I was eyeing some tight ends, but I shied away because there are some late tight end targets that I like a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I like the Claypool pick. Kyle Pitts goes off the board next, little tight end action. Then Mike Davis, Brandon Ayuk, Darrell Henderson, and then Mark Andrews. So we had a couple tight ends go. I was looking, so obviously I have my RB1, RB2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 locked up here. I like what you said about the tight end depth, so I'm going to go ahead and take the opposite approach. I'm going to go with TJ Hawkinson here. I think, that wide receiver core is absolutely decimated this year, and they have Jared Goff at the helm, who is he can throw the football. He's not terrible by any means, so he's just not, obviously, Matthew Stafford, but I think there's just too much opportunity for TJ Hawkinson. I think he's going to get a ton of volume. He's a huge target. So I think he's going to be well utilized here, and I'm definitely comfortable taking him in the 5th round here as my tight end. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
I think Jared Goff is awful, but that's actually a benefit to your pick because when a quarterback's awful, the 2 places you got to look is running back and tight end. Because again, they'll dump off, and tight ends tend to be the most open short. So I think he'll be looking a lot to Hawkinson. So I actually like that pick. I would not take any wide receiver in the Detroit system.
No,
I do like I said, I took Swift for the same reason as kind of taking Hawkinson. It's like they need to throw it somewhere eventually. So I'm here though. Jerry Jeudy just went in. Aaron Rodgers. I was actually thinking tight end here as well, and obviously that kind of run happened, so I just missed it here at the 12. I was hoping maybe like one of them fell. I kind of knew Kyle Pitts is going mid 5th round, and then I was thinking maybe Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson might fall. But with them not falling, there's a couple places I'm kind of looking here. Dak's staring at me. I don't like him just because, again, I think his shoulder's hurt. Coming back from a long-term injury, could be rusty. I think he'll end up being good, but there's just a couple injury concerns in the early year, start of the year. So I'm staying away from that. And my philosophy on QBs in general is just like avoid at all costs. So. Like I said, there's a couple places I'm thinking of going. I have both, like everyone else, I have my top 2 running backs and top 2 wide receivers, so I can kind of go anywhere here with the flex, or tight end and QB. Like I said, not liking the QB options as of now. I think there's just the points above replacement just aren't there right now. Same with the tight ends. We have a couple picks here, though. There's one person, I'm actually going to go here. I like I said, I wasn't super, super confident on my RB2, so I kind of want to stock up here because we're in this weird little mid-round where there's the starter. There are some true starters here that'll probably split some time, and for me, someone I had last year kind of snuck up out of nowhere. I think I'd pick them up in waivers. But in Miami, I think Tua might rely on them maybe for some passing. I know they brought in Malcolm Brown, and they still have Salvin Ahmed, but I'm going to go with Myles Gaskin. I think Miami's offense may take a step back this year because they're not 100% sold on Tua. But again, that's always more reason maybe get a running back that could catch out of the backfield and help Tua there. So yeah, now I feel confident with my running backs because I can, if one of them doesn't pan out, I'll have the other one. And so now it's, roulette with some of these wide receivers that are here in this position. We have Odell. Does he take a step back? We've all talked about the Pittsburgh receivers. So Juju's sitting there. Robbie Anderson, kind of the opposite of DJ Moore, like more long, deep threat, but Sam Darnold's there. So, could work out. I don't want to, stretch too far. There's a couple Cincy ones here, and I don't know if I trust them. So this guy sitting here. I might have to go with him. I think I might have picked him last draft, but I see him sitting here. He's a little bit further down the board, so it's a little bit of stretch. But he is the number one guy in his offense, maybe number two this year. But he's such a gadget player too, can run. I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel in San Francisco. Had the bad injury last year, which kind of hurt me, but I think he's crazy talented, super fast, and can have some of those gadget plays.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a multi-faceted player, and it'll be exciting to see what they do over there. Jamar Chase goes off the board next, and then Russell Wilson with QB action here. Back to me at the 604. I kind of already know what I'm doing here. I've locked up my running back and wide receiver start as my tight end, so I'm going to go ahead and take Dak Prescott here. He's on the last top 5 ranked QB available. I think he's going to finish higher than that if he can stay healthy. Like I said earlier, their offense is looking really good this year. I think Dak's back, ready to rock and roll, and I'm feeling really good about him this year, so I'm going to go ahead and shore up my starting lineup here, less my flex, and I'm going to go ahead and take Dak Prescott here at the 604.
Gritty pick, just like I said last draft. He's not on the list, so you're clear, Ben. He'll have a good season. He'll have a fully healthy season. So, yeah, next off the board, we got Gus Edwards, Kenny Golladay, Justin Herbert, Odell Beckham Jr., Devonte Williams, and I am so happy that my boy made it back to me because I am without a doubt drafting Damian Harris again. Kareem Hunt's still on the board. Yep, very intrigued by him, but with the announcement that Mac Jones is going to be the starter, I just love him that much more. It's going to lead to a couple more goal line carries. I do think, Stevenson is going to factor in on the goal line a little more than I hope, but I'm still absolutely all in on Damian Harris. He's so talented. He's still, finding his way in this league. Bill Belichick really loves him. I can't pump this guy's tires enough. Just follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Frenzy Pod. You'll see a daily tweet for Damian Harris. I guarantee it. And I guarantee that he will be an absolute stud this year for you. I'm talking, pushing RB12, potentially RB1 numbers. Maybe I'm a little bit biased there, but I can't get enough of Damian Harris from the New England Patriots. So excited for this guy. And now, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with my running backs. I have 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. I can finally start to look at other positions in this draft, specifically quarterbacks. Let me do a absolute double take of my list because I got to be real careful about this because there's some guys coming up that I really like. Next off the board, we have Kareem Hunt, Juju Smith-Schuster, Robbie Anderson, Tom Brady, one of the guys on my love list. I don't have to worry about him. I mean, I love Tom Brady. Everyone loves Tom Brady. We're Patriots fans. We still love him. So, a guy that I can't really get behind is Ryan Tannehill. So right now, for me, it's between, my reverse psychology logic. It's between Ryan Tannehill and Matthew Stafford. And a lot of people are high on him. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. They just added Julio Jones. Hopefully, A.J. Brown can have a fully healthy season. I do like that Anthony Firkser. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. I should probably know how to pronounce it because he's one of my favorite late tight end sleepers. So I like everybody in that offense. Derrick Henry is an absolute monster, but I'll go with Ryan Tannehill here just because I think that offense could click on all cylinders. And he's not one of the guys that I love, so it's okay to draft him. It's the reverse psychology effect. I feel great about it.
Yeah, you have no reason not to. I mean, he's got A.J. Brown and now Julio Jones to throw to, obviously Derrick Henry on the ground. So he put up really big numbers last year. I think he's very underrated, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year with another, top-tier wide receiver in his arsenal. So you were 703, 704. We have Cortland Sutton, and then Devonta Smith will go, the rookie wide receiver for the Eagles. Then Michael Thomas, Tyler Boyd, who I was eyeballing, and then Matthew Stafford. Obviously, potential to be a great quarterback, definitely top 5 potential if they can really sew everything together well. So I can kind of go wherever I want here. I filled my starting lineup besides my flex position. I'm going to go ahead and try and build some running back depth here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Trey Sermon from the San Francisco 49ers. I know Raheem Mostert's still there, and maybe he starts week 1 and 2, but I think Trey Sermon's much more of a dynamic player. I think he's going to take over the starting job sooner rather than later. And as my RB3, I'm perfectly content to have him wait on the bench for a couple weeks until he has the breakout that I expect out of him this year. So I'm going to go ahead and take Trey Sermon with the 709.
49ers do love their running backs. And
Yep.
And the whole QB concern too. You have no clue who's going to play QB at this point. There, so at least the running backs will be consistent. But yeah, no. So I'm 7-12. I don't have my roster filled out. I have an extra bench spot now because I've gone 3-3. But since then, Marquez Callaway went at 7-10, and then Brandon Cook 7-11. I wasn't looking at either of those, so I'm happy. A couple places I could go here. Like I said, I don't have a tight end. I don't have a QB. I'm still really not looking at QB though because the top one left is Jalen Hurts, and if he plays a full season, I'll be kicking myself because I should have drafted him here. Everything coming out of Philly does not seem like they're remotely confident in him. They brought in Joe Flacco and Gardner Minshew, so they're really stacking behind him. Not with great QBs, but with QBs that could come in and play if it does not go Jalen Hurts' way. So I'm really trying to avoid him. So I'm gonna look away from there, and I think my first pick here is going to be someone who I missed out last time. Because you guys all wanted him the same, and that's going to be Corey Davis out of the Jets. I think the Jets, will throw a lot. Corey Davis, talented, looks to break out moving to his new team. So I'm going to go another wide receiver there. And don't fret, I will be picking, filling out my roster a little bit here with a tight end. I like both of them, honestly, on the board right here, the top 2. But if Joe Mixon is Tyler's love and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is Ben's, then mine, that breaks my heart every single time, is Noah Fant. I think he's just crazy athletic, one of the most talented tight ends. He just, plays for a bad team. But Teddy Bridgewater was announced starter, so I think that means good things. Drew Lock just didn't have it, and Noah Fant injury prone. So definitely a risky pick here. But if he's healthy, I think he could even slide into a top 5 tight end in the league just because of his athleticism and ability to catch the ball. Just needs Teddy Bridgewater to throw it to him. So I'm going to take the risk on Teddy Bridgewater and Noah Fant. So that will be where I'm going to go, and I'm going to fill out the roster a little bit.
All right, and then 802, we'll see Chase Edmonds go, and then 803, where I was going to go, is Laviska Shenault. I think he's going to have a really good year this year. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence coming in. I think, Laviska Shenault's someone to be excited about. I think he's being downplayed a little bit and deserves a little more attention than he's getting. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pick a wide receiver here. Antonio Brown and DJ Chark are at the top of the list right now. Obviously, I'm not going to be going DJ Chark after what I just said about Laviska Shenault, so that's going to leave Antonio Brown. Obviously, he's the number 3 option on this team behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Not necessarily in that order either, but Tom Brady's throwing them the ball. They obviously have a great relationship off the field as well as on the field. So, as my wide receiver 3, I'm definitely happy to get Antonio Brown here at the 804.
If he plays a full season, that's a great value.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a guy I was, had my eyes on. Didn't really think he would make it to me, and one of the good owners picked him, so I'm happy for Antonio Brown. He's in a great spot on Ben's team. After that, we got Raheem Mostert, Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, Curtis Samuel, and Melvin Gordon. So right now, I got everything but my tight end. I got 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. I can afford to take a chance because I'm still willing to wait on tight end a little bit. And right now, I see an opportunity that I don't think is going to come again, where there's still an opportunity where I can get running back depth. And there's a guy in New York who is a rookie, Michael Carter. I think he's got a great opportunity to really take over the starting role. If he can really turn into a bell cow back, or even just the head of the committee and at this late round pick, I have to go with Michael Carter, and I do think this Jets offense is going to be much improved with Zach Wilson and guys leading the way like Corey Davis. Who's that other rookie wide receiver? I'm drawing a blank
Elijah
on his name
Moore.
right now.
Yeah, Elijah Moore.
Yep. I'm absolutely in love with this Jets offense. They got a young core, and in dynasties and keepers, Michael Carter is a guy that I'm really targeting hardcore. But even in redraft, I'm super excited to get him this late in the draft. Next off the board, we got Leonard Fournette, Zach Moss, Michael Pittman, and Ronald Jones. So 3 running backs there. I'm really happy I took a running back. And, now I'm finally starting to look at drafting a tight end. And, a couple guys on the board right now that I'm looking at. Robert Tonyan, who I feel like he's kind of being, discredited. He had a great season last year. There's still a couple guys left that are really high on the board, like Logan Thomas and Dallas Goedert, but I'm skipping all those guys, even going past Tyler Higbee. Maybe I'm a little bit biased with this pick, but I'm going to go with the Patriots tight end, Jonnu Smith. I really think with Mac Jones being the starter, there's a lot of value to be had in that offense, so I'm willing to take a chance on, some of the wide receivers like Nelson Aguilar and Jacoby Myers late in this draft, and Jonnu Smith at a tight end could be a great value. I liked him a lot when Cam Newton was in. The Patriots, love to move their tight ends around. They've had 2 tight end sets plenty back in the day, and Jonnu Smith is a guy that has lined up in the backfield in the past. That seems like a guy Belichick is going to love and go to very often. I can't say for sure who I think is going to be the number 1 tight end in this offense with Hunter Henry being there, but I'm fine with taking a shot on either, and if I'm a betting man, I think Jonnu Smith would be the number 1 tight end in New England, and really hoping Mac Jones, being a rookie, relies on the tight end for those quick routes, and I think it could really pay off this late in the draft.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick there. I know he was my guy last year down in Tennessee. Definitely excited to see what he'll do in New England. So 904, we'll see James Conner go, and then 905, Bob Tonyan. 906, Logan Thomas, who I really like him this year. I think he's going to do well with Fitzmagic down there in Washington. So I think he's a good pickup there by Team 6, Robot. Then we'll see another tight end, Dallas Goedert go, and then 908, we'll see A.J. Dillon. And back to me.
By me.
Say it again? Good
timing by me drafting the tight end right before 3 get picked.
Yeah, a little tight end run right there. Back to me at the 909. This is the point of the draft where I want to just close my eyes and start picking because it's just gross to look at. But I'm going to go ahead for some more running back depth because, running backs are kind of at a premium this year because of how non-deep the position is. I'm going to go with Jamal Williams here of the Detroit Lions. Their system is set up for running backs, but it's just never really been that way. And especially like I talked about earlier with how they have no wide receivers this year. It's going to be a lot of TJ Hawkinson and Jamal Williams. We'll hopefully be seeing some volume as the 3-down back and the pass-catching back. So I'm going to go ahead and pick him here as really the only running back option on that team. No offense.
No, yeah, I like that. I like that pick. They're going to utilize both him and Swift, especially with Swift starting off the season kind of banged up. And the other option was J.D. McKissick, and I think he'll be used way less just because Antonio Gibson took a way bigger step up last year than Swift did. So I think that's a great pick.
That was a poke at DeAndre Swift, but go ahead.
No, I know. No, I'm very much aware, but I think they'll just use both. So I almost got baited into picking Jalen Hurts last time. I was here 24 picks ago, and he's still sitting here. So I think it's absurd to not just go with that and just get that out of the way. I don't have a QB yet. I might be the only one in this. I think I'm the only one in the draft without a QB, but I know some of these bots will start getting some backups coming up in the next round, so I don't want to miss out on getting. I think he's ranked QB 11 here, but I think he's with his legs, and if he plays the full season, he's I would say guaranteed top 10 QB just because of the legs and some of the wide receivers that they actually have to use here. So I'm gonna get that out of the way. No further comment on Jalen Hurts. I just hope he does play and is as good as he kind of showed last year for a quick stretch. And then now, I'm just hunting, pecking, like Ben said. I'm looking a couple different places here. There's some wide receiver depth. I don't love Jarvis Landry. I don't really love Mike Williams either. We're really in that spot where it's like backup. So I really don't. I'm looking here, running back. I'm actually stuck here because there's a lot of wide receivers that I like even further down the board. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to really stretch for this pick because, again, I don't pick for 20 more picks. He will not be here. Tyler got him last time. I'm going Darnell Money Mooney.
No.
I don't love, there's some more notable names maybe at the wide receiver position. Like I said, Jarvis Landry, Mike Williams, even Michael Gallup and Marvin Jones in new situation. But I think I'll take the risk on Darnell Mooney really stepping up to be the second wide receiver in that team. And hopefully Justin Fields does start. It's confirmed he's not starting week 1 still, which is absurd, but hopefully he'll start. So
heartbroken.
Yeah, obviously a really good pick there. I have nothing to say though, because I'm an Allen Robinson truther. So we'll just leave that.
No, I mean they're both going to be sick. That's why I think that's why both. I think both of them are going to be better this year because both of them are going to be good this year.
Yeah. So after Darnell Mooney, we'll see Sony Michel go, and then James White, and then back to me at the 10:04. I was kind of chuckling to myself when you were talking because I was really hoping Mike Williams was going to fall to me. I think he's just a freak athlete. He can just make some unreal plays. What's up, Bane?
Bane? Bane does not agree with that pick.
No, he does agree.
This is a cold take, as cold as it gets, man. Oh my God.
That's him completely agreeing with me. Mike Williams is just a freak athlete. Obviously, you talked a lot about Justin Herbert and how he can make crazy things happen. Obviously, Keenan Allen's a clear-cut number 1 here, but I think Mike Williams can be used as a deep stash, maybe a flex on a bye week. But if anything were to happen to Keenan Allen, obviously there have been some injury concerns in the past, and Mike Williams' stock rises significantly. So as my wide receiver 4 here in the later rounds, I'm going to definitely go ahead and take Mike Williams here at the 10:04.
Okay, and with everything Bane said, Mike Williams is officially on my do not draft list. I don't need any justification behind it. I trust my dog. They have really good instincts, and absolutely no Mike Williams. I feel better about me predicting Keenan Allen to be a top 5 wide receiver now. Couldn't be any more confident. Great take, Bane. I appreciate that. So next off the board, I'm glad I got a running back a couple rounds ago because we just had a crazy running back streak off the board. We got Kenyon Drake, Devin Singletary, Tony Pollard, David Johnson, Nyheim Hines. A lot of guys, realistically, I was eyeing a couple guys like Tony Pollard and Nyheim Hines. So I feel like I got enough running back depth with 4 on my team. I'm looking at, taking flyers on wide receivers right now. Marvin Jones is a guy I'm interested in because I'm curious to see how that offense is going to run with Trevor Lawrence there down in Jacksonville. I'm fine with taking a shot realistically on Laviska Shenault. I like him the most, but I'm fine with waiting to take DJ Chark or Marvin Jones. But I'm going to fade them entirely right now because there's a guy on the board that I really like alongside Corey Davis. I talked about this Jets offense. Typically, I would avoid having 2 Jets players on my offense, but they're both bench stashes. They're both rookies that have a lot of upside, and I'm really hoping this offense pans out, to be the way that everyone expects it to be. Zach Wilson, the number 2 overall pick in the draft. He should be talented enough to be able to spread the ball out, and I just want to take a shot at one of these wide receivers between Corey Davis and Elijah Moore and hope I get Zach Wilson's favorite target. So I'm just going to go ahead and take him. I don't feel too great about the pick because, now I have Michael Carter and Elijah Moore, but other than that, I'm pretty much taking a Jets player in every single draft, so it should be justified a little more. And after that, we got Latavius Murray, Phillip Lindsay, J.D. McKissick, and Jarvis Landry. Now it's back to me in the 11th round. And boy, oh boy, the list of names is getting very thin. Typically a guy that I would think would be a great option is Jacoby Myers. Definitely not willing to have 3 Patriots players on my roster, but if I missed out on a guy like Damian Harris or didn't take Jonnu Smith as my tight end, I'd be willing to invest a little more in this Patriots offense. I said that there is fantasy value to be had, but I don't think there's that much fantasy value to be had to support, 3 studs. So I'm going to go with the guy I almost took last round in Marvin Jones, just taking another shot on a Jacksonville wide receiver. And he's the veteran guy there out of that offense. So hopefully Trevor Lawrence can lean on him a lot to get that offense going. And Trevor Lawrence is super talented. So any of these wide receivers, they have a chance to break out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good pick there, especially moving down to the new team, rookie quarterback. It'll be exciting to see what happens. After that, Michael Gallup goes, who I was hoping fell to me, then Alexander Madison, Giovanni Bernard, Tevin Coleman, and then A.J. Green. Back to me at the 11:09. We got 2 picks left. Again, kind of throwing darts at this point. I'm not really looking running back much here, especially because I went twice in the last 2 picks before Mike Williams. Looking at the wide receivers, we have Devontae Parker, Marquise Brown, Mecole Hardman, Russell Gage. Not really much excitement about any of them. Excuse me. Obviously, Russell Gage could have an increased role this year with Julio Jones gone, but obviously Calvin Ridley's going to be there soaking up targets, as well as a rookie tight end whose name is escaping my mind because I'm talking too fast. Kyle Pitts, thank you for the help, boys.
Yeah, I was getting there.
No, it's all good. Looking on the running back side, Rashad Penny is available as well, who could be a decent deep round stash if anything were to happen to Chris Carson. Obviously, we know there's some injury concerns there in the past. They did just sign Chris Carson to a big deal, so they're probably going to be leaning on him heavily. Excuse me. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and take a late round stash in Rashad Penny.
Yeah, like you said, if you're taking a running back here, it's at best the starter goes out with an injury. I don't think there's even much help with like just potential pass catching backs at this point. I'm looking at some of the running backs here. I only have 3 running backs, so I should be looking here a little bit more. And be like a Darrell Williams or somewhere around there. But I might hold out here and just kind of keep poking at wide receivers. Just because I didn't love my last couple picks here. And there's a couple guys I like, but I'm trying to look, might be further down the board. Actually, I'm not going to go too far down the board. I'm going to go with a guy I think could break out this year. I just think, the offense isn't great, but I just, he's too talented and to perform as poorly as that offense did last year. I'm going to go with Henry Ruggs. It's one of those things. He's just so fast. It's just incredible to watch how fast he is. And so I think if Derek Carr could take a little bit of step up from last year, can't go much further down. I like that. And, I really am looking at running back here just because I only have 3. I don't have much depth. Where I'm going to go? I'm going to stick in New England. This is bias here, but I think there's going to be some poaching touchdowns. And if he poaches enough, it might convince me to sneak him to a flex one week. I'm going to have to go with Ramondre Stevenson, the highest rated rookie running back coming out of preseason. Again, he's behind Damian Harris and James White. James White's going to be catching all the passes, so I'm not expecting Stevenson to do a ton, but he might poach some on the goal line.
Yeah, I think that's a good grab there. I mean, again, it's Bill Belichick, so who knows what's going to happen with the running backs. So, I mean, certainly safe there for your second to last pick. After that, we'll go Chuba Hubbard and then Tarek Cohen, and then back to me at the 12:04. I'm going to look at a backup QB here. I'm going to go with Tua time. I think, there's some opportunity for him to take a big step forward here in his second year. I think they added some tools to the arsenal down there that can help him succeed. So I'm going to go ahead and take Tua here as my backup quarterback with my last pick of the draft.
Oof. I am not too big on Tua this year. Maybe I'm biased because, I'm being a Patriots fan, and I've seen Tua play enough where I don't think he's going to last very long in the NFL, but, it is what it is. Joe Burrow goes next. Darrell Williams, Tyson Williams, Cole Beasley, Russell Gage. I have my last pick in this draft. I did kind of make a mistake earlier that I didn't really point out is I should have taken Alexander Madison with one of these last picks being the Dalvin Cook owner. That would have been a really smart choice, but I just overlooked it. Maybe it's the whiskey. Whatever. I'm talking trash to Ben about the Tua pick in the last round. I'm going to blame the whiskey. But with one pick left, there's not a lot of good options. I got my quarterback. Jacoby Myers is still there, a guy I would normally take, but I got 2 guys on this New England offense. That's enough for me. And I'm debating right now between one of these young QBs like Justin Fields or Trey Lance, since I don't feel that confident in Ryan Tannehill right now, or I'm thinking of taking Boston Scott, Miles Sanders backup, and I just don't have a lot of confidence in Miles Sanders. I don't think he's all that talented, and he hasn't really panned out. So With that being said, I think with a QB, I'm going to pass on that because I can get one on the waivers, a few weeks in the season if I can. If Miles Sanders has a really ugly week 1, week 2, I don't think Boston Scott's going to be available that much longer, and I'll get more running back depth. Why not? I'll go with Boston Scott in this draft. I'm anti Miles Sanders already, so that should justify it even more. And then 2 more picks to wrap up the draft. We are waiting for Team 1 and Team 2 to draft. All right. It didn't pop up. Your draft is completed for me. I don't know if you guys saw those last 2 picks.
I'm at the draft board. It was Matt Ryan and then Devontae Parker to finish off.
Okay, yeah. So there's our mock draft. Fellas, do you guys have any closing notes? I feel pretty comfortable with my team right now.
Yeah, one too.
Yeah. One note I would say is that we did shorten the bench here for time concerns. Normally you'd have at least 1, maybe 2 more spots on the bench. So, Tyler's talking about backup QB. Ben picked a backup QB. I think I would have gone backup QB because again, I don't feel confident in Jalen Hurts to play the whole season. But again, with our restricted bench spots, it's really only room for one QB, 1 tight end, and then just flyers with wide receivers and running backs at that point. That'd be the only note I would make.
Absolutely, and that about wraps up our episode for today, boys. It's always a pleasure. These mock draft episodes are so fun, and I hope you guys had a great time listening. Peace out.
See ya. Boys.